We are on the same team here at NBC News, and as people who cover the Me Too movement, and as two women living and working in New York. And one thing we do talk about all the time, and we're actually talking about it in an upcoming podcast that launches soon, is there such a thing as redemption? Because in the beginning of Me Too, everybody sort of got lumped in together, and as the stories came out, we didn't necessarily want to say it publicly, but a lot of people said, well, wait a minute, does that count? And I think the first time we heard that or thought that was Aziz Ansari. And when a young woman wrote her story and said, this was the worst experience of my life, I felt like I was forced into sex, I, as somebody who lived in New York as a single girl for a long time and now married, thought that was being forced into sex?
But also, by the way, I had male friends who totally identified with Aziz in that story, that, well, why wouldn't she come upstairs if she wasn't interested? And that is also valid. That's the signal saying, hey, I don't want this night to end.
And when you first read the Aziz story, her story, what did you think?
I thought that a lot of my friends have been in that position before, that there is this unspoken agreement that once you go upstairs that it's an all or nothing deal. But why does it have to be that you've signed on to go all the way with this guy that you've just met? Why can't it be, we'll negotiate as it goes along what it is we both want out of that night?
But that's what's amazing, because you and I went to go see Aziz 2 weeks ago and decided to write about it to hear his side of the story. Because we've seen other people try to come back. Louis C.K., other people have said, where is redemption? And some women have said, there shouldn't be redemption yet. This thing is just starting. But we wanted to hear Aziz's story. And I thought he got up there and he was vulnerable and he was honest and he was angry, but I felt him. Did you?
Totally, and I think he offered us a path forward. It wasn't just, this terrible thing happened to me, I'm super angry about it, I'm a victim. It was more, unfortunately this was the case, but how can we all be better people for it?
And I believed him. When Louis C.K. came back, people chewed him up and spit him out. What did you think was different?
I think he came back swinging in the same kind of angry tone. He talked about Parkland survivors in this leaked audio of a set that he did, and I think Aziz was more creative than that. There were no, blows. It was all smart, creative content that was true to who he was before and who he is now.
You know what? I think that's exactly it. He was smart and thoughtful and creative. He didn't suddenly clean it up and say, I'm a new Aziz. It was kind of like smarter and better.
And it was totally not squeaky clean, excuse me. It was, talking about political correctness and how
mocking it.
White people are nicer than they've ever been to minorities like him.
I've been observing you. I see what's going on. You're trying really hard.
It was totally funny, and it wasn't this Me Too, come back, I have to be a different person kind of routine.
No. So my takeaway was, we're so quick in cancel culture to categorize and judge and say, this was a bad act, this is a bad person, they don't deserve to be here, we're done with them. But it is so complicated.
Totally. And I think in his stand-up show that we saw, and maybe in his special, he really doesn't strike this tone of, this is in the past and we're not going to talk about it. He really was there to offer this lesson for all of us and to talk about it and make it part of his craft, which I thought was awesome.
Do you walk away from it saying, this was a horrible thing for both of them, but maybe there's an opening that what happened to them and him coming back and telling a story could end up being a net positive? And I'm sure he and she don't feel that way.
I totally think so. I think with Me Too, we've heard some really horrible stories of people's lives being turned upside down and ruined, and they're scarred for life. It's traumatic. But I think with Aziz, it's terrible for both people, but we can all see a little bit of ourselves in that story. And maybe with those more terrible stories, they're a little bit harder to connect to because some people have not been the victim of that kind of violence or assault or misconduct. So when we see Aziz, we say, here's something that I can relate to, that I see myself in, and how can I now be better for it?
And it could trickle down, because where you see the majority of these cases are oftentimes with women who are the most vulnerable. In jobs, listen, when you are backed into a corner, when you have got to make rent, especially in the workplace, you often are stuck in situations you don't want to be in.
Right.
And so when you see these high-profile cases there could be a trickle-down effect.
But also that it's not just in the workplace, that it's in relationships that we're opting into.
Yes.
It's not just that we're in this dynamic that we are stuck in for money or for power or for whatever. It's that I want to date this person, and how do I now communicate to them what I want out of it?
But the more we have these conversations, the better we are. And so
Agreed.
Aziz is back and his fans are back. Good luck to him.
Totally. Good luck, Aziz.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.